The 2025 NFL free agent class is absolutely stacked with big-name stars at each premier position. But here's the fun part. It's about to get even more loaded with several prominent stars about to be released in cap-saving moves.
Rodgers flew back to New Jersey last week to meet with the Jets about the future with the team, only to be told the team would be moving on.
So with the official league new year approaching, let's dive into the 15 biggest NFL names most likely to get cut this offseason. Aaron Rodgers. After a disastrous season in Gotham, the New York Jets have decided to pull the plug on the Aaron Rodgers era. Releasing Rodgers will cost the Jets $49 million in dead money. If he's designated as a post-June 1st release, it'll be $14 million in dead money for 2024 and $35 million for 2026. Or they can cut him pre-June 1st and take on the entire $49 million for 2025. Either scenario is just fine for a team entering rebuilding mode. Davante Adams. Imagine being told a few years ago that Rodgers and Adams would both be released in the same offseason. A midseason trade for Adams did nothing to inject the Jets' offense. As he enters the twilight years of his career, you gotta think that Adams would be more than happy to be released so that he can pursue a ring elsewhere. The Jets would save $29.8 million if they released Adams before June 1st. That seems like a pretty easy call for Glenn and Muji, and, well, Adams would immediately jump into the top 10 of available free agents. Derek Carr. The New Orleans Saints are the golden standard of how not to run a football team when your Hall of Fame quarterback retires, and when your Hall of Fame coach departs. The Saints have now missed the playoffs in 4 straight years, yet continue to operate as if they're in title contention every year. With a new head coach and Kellen Moore calling the shots, might he get through to ownership and GM Mickey Loomis about the need to rebuild? If so, the Saints can start by releasing starting quarterback Derek Carr, who hasn't provided much since signing a $150 million contract in 2023. Cutting Carr post-June 1st would save the Saints $30 million against the cap in 2025, with a dead money charge of $21.58 million. They would have dead money charges of $11.458 million for 2026 and 2027, but also save a whopping $50 million in cap space for next year. Deebo Samuel. During Super Bowl 59 weekend, it was reported that the San Francisco 49ers gave Samuel and his agent permission to seek a trade. The 2021 All-Pro had a down season that saw him finish with just 51 catches for 670 yards and 3 touchdowns. Samuel is entering the final season of a 3-year extension that he signed in 2022. The 49ers offense has more than enough firepower with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall, so they can easily get by without Samuel. If the 49ers designate Samuel as a post-June 1st release, they'll save $5.1 million against the cap. With the Brock Purdy extension looming, that would be a very helpful cash dump by GM John Lynch. Joey Bosa. Bosa's name appeared frequently last year on lists of potential big-name cap casualties, but he agreed to a restructured deal to remain with the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, Bosa had a bit of a down 2024 campaign that saw him log just 5 sacks in 14 games. The oft-injured Bosa has now failed to log double-digit sacks in 4 of the last 5 seasons, suggesting that he really may be past his best before date. If the Bolts can cut or trade Bosa, they save $25.36 million against the cap. Honestly, how could Jim Harbaugh and GM Joe Ortiz say no to that? Bosa will most likely get cut unless he agrees to a massive hometown discount. Jaire Alexander. The All-Pro cornerback is a virtual lock to be let go by the Green Bay Packers after another season riddled with injuries. ESPN's Rob Demovsky reported that the Packers have become frustrated with his injury history, and, well, let's not forget that he told reporters that he had nothing good to say after their playoff loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Alexander is still a difference maker when healthy, but the Packers had a top 10 defense with him missing all but 7 games. Cutting him before June 1st can save about $6.84 million against the cap, or a whopping $17 million post-June 1st. Christian Kirk. After a career year in his first season with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2022, Kirk has been limited to 20 total games over his last 2 seasons. With Brian Thomas Jr. emerging as the Jaguars' top wide receiver in 2025, it's hard to envision bringing Kirk back, especially on his current cap hit of $24 million. If the Jaguars release the one-time 1,000-yard receiver, they'll clear up $10.437 million in cap space. Jacksonville needs to address its offensive line, front 7, and cornerback room this offseason. They have more than enough weapons to survive without Kirk, so expect the former Arizona Cardinal to hit free agency. Marcus Williams. The former Saints stalwart safety fell out of favor in Baltimore and was inactive for the team's final 5 regular season games and 2 postseason contests. In January, Williams agreed to a significant contract adjustment that makes his pending release much easier for GM Eric DeCosta. By designating Williams as a post-June 1st release, Baltimore would save $2.1 million against the cap. Yeah, it's not much, but it's better than keeping a player who obviously needs a new home after becoming a liability in their secondary. Von Miller. After the worst season of his career that saw the 2-time Super Bowl champion log 0 sacks, Miller semi-bounced back with 6 sacks in 13 regular season games. But for the second straight year, Miller also played just 1/3 of the Buffalo Bills' defensive snaps in games that he suited up for. The Buffalo defense underachieved in 2025, so you can expect a reset here by Sean McDermott and company. Releasing Miller ASAP saves the Bills $8.397 million. After June 1st, that number jumps to $17.44 million. Buffalo could find a trade partner for the future Hall of Famer, but Miller would have to agree to a major contract restructure for that to happen. The likeliest outcome is Miller's release and him going to the open market for the second time in his career. Braden Smith. Few NFL teams need a drastic shakeup to their core more than the Indianapolis Colts, who have missed the playoffs in 4 consecutive years now. The offensive line has been a strength for a bit, but committing all that money and resources to the trenches really has not made up for the lackluster quarterback play or problems on defense. Star offensive tackle Braden Smith is entering the last season of his contract but carries too high of a cap hit at $19.75 million. If the Colts release the fan favorite, they save themselves $16.75 million against the cap. Smith has been a key cog on the offensive line alongside Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson. If he hits the open market, there will be plenty of interest in a stud offensive tackle who's only entering his age 29 season. Marshawn Latimore. The Washington Commanders may have made a surprise trip to the NFC Championship game with rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels leading the charge, but the former Saints superstar certainly did not contribute much to that Cinderella run. Injuries limited Latimore to 2 regular season contests, but woof, was he ever lit up like a cigar in his 3 playoff outings. Per Pro Football Reference, Latimore allowed 10 of 14 passes to be completed when targeted for 154 yards and a touchdown. Remember, Mike Evans absolutely destroyed him in the wildcard round. Cutting Latimore would save Washington $18 million against the cap, and they wouldn't take on a penny in dead money charges. Unless he's agreeing to a giant hometown discount, expect Latimore to be released into free agency for the first time in his career. Darius Slay. Big play Slay finally got the last thing eluding his borderline Hall of Fame career. The Super Bowl 59 ring with the Philadelphia Eagles, crushing the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22 in the big game. But as is the case with most Super Bowl champions, the Eagles have to make the difficult choice of bidding farewell to several key contributors to get under the cap. As much as this would sting the Eagles locker room and fan base, cutting the 6-time Pro Bowler is the wisest move to remain under the cap. If the Eagles make Darius Slay a post-June 1st roster cut, they'll save $4.324 million against the cap. The emergence of rookie cornerbacks Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell make it that much easier to cut Slay and get out of his $13.765 million cap hit. Tyler Lockett. Lockett has been a mainstay on the Seattle Seahawks offense since his 2015 rookie season, but the 4-time 1,000-yard receiver has fallen short of 1K in consecutive seasons now. DK Metcalf has been the Seahawks' #1 receiver since 2019, but Lockett is no longer his sidekick. That notion now belongs to rising star Jackson Smith-Njigba. With Lockett entering the final year of his contract, the Seahawks can save a mammoth $17 million against the cap by releasing the 32-year-old. Mark Andrews. No, Andrews is not on this list because of his 2 costly mistakes in the Ravens' divisional round loss to the Bills. Even if Baltimore went on to win the Super Bowl, Andrews would still be on this list. Baltimore's 3-time Pro Bowl tight end has not come close to repeating the career year that he posted in 2021 when he caught 107 passes for 1,361 yards and 9 touchdowns. Derrick Henry is Lamar Jackson's go-to playmaker now. Zay Flowers is the #1 pass catcher in Baltimore, and 2021 first-rounder Rashad Bateman is coming off the best season of his career. The Ravens would save $11 million against the cap by releasing a guy who's now merely the #4 weapon in their offense, Cooper Kupp. On February 3rd, Kupp announced on X/Twitter that the Los Angeles Rams plan to trade him in the offseason. The Super Bowl 56 MVP noted that the 2 sides will work together to find the right trade destination for him. But Kupp is going to have limited suitors on the trade market. Releasing him now saves $7.52 million against the cap, but the number grows to $15 million if they make him a post-June 1st release. That is far too much money for GM Les Snead to pass up on. But hey, which other big-named NFL players could be cut in the offseason? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.